What are the biggest driving forces behind discussion and viewership of the professional scene of any esport or a sport is the want to determine the relative skill levels between professional players. When I'm watching Envious versus Energy, one of the reasons is because I want to see if Seagull can out aim Taimu or out duel Tailspin. It's a very interesting thing because on a certain level, all that really matters is the performance of the team, but it still captivates us to try and find that one player who's a star in the making, who can really take a team and carry it to the next level just based on his or her own skill. But one of the difficulties when assessing the skill level of professional players is that there's no real objective way to do it in the professional scene. If we take a look at the competitive game mode in Overwatch, or just the competitive game modes of any game out right now, how matchmaking works is that it places you in a bunch of different situations and scenarios where the variables change from game to game. It places you in different game modes on different maps with different players, and then it relates your stats between the games. It records them, your win rate being the primary stat, and then it uses that to rank you relative to all the other players that it's tracking. The problem is you can't really just assign elo to players in the professional scene like that because they're always on the same team. They're always playing with the same people, and you can't isolate them completely. And that would even kind of destroy the point, because if you were just taking a bunch of professional players and throwing them on random teams to determine their individual skill level, while it would help determine their skill at the fundamentals of the game, things like aim or movement or ability management, it wouldn't actually determine things that are a little bit more intangible, like team synergy or communication or how to execute a strategy as a team. Those kinds of things where it's like you have to build synergy for a while. You have to play with the same group of players for a bit. And it's not something that can just happen overnight with a group of completely random people. So that's just the thing. Like, how do you actually then determine the skill level of players within a team? Because if you take them out of that team, they might lose or gain skill, right? If they join another team that they have more synergy with, say Seagull left and joined Cloud9, okay? It's just random hypothetical. And he just jives with Cloud9. Like, he just really, it all just works. And Cloud9 suddenly just becomes an amazing team. Can you really say that it's just Seagull that's making Cloud9 amazing? And it's like, oh, if, Seagull's just an amazing player, Energy was holding him back. I'm not sure if you can really say that, because it's the whole teamwork aspect there. Maybe if Seagull left any other team, he would just be a terrible player because he just wouldn't be able to work well. And so then that kind of adds in another criteria. How well do players function with other players? Like, if say, for example, Taimu, okay, I'm just pulling a random player. If Taimu only is able to work inside Envious and you put him on any other team, he's garbage. Is he truly a good player? Because his skill level with Envious is really good. Like, he's obviously a top player right now. But if he can't play at that top level with any other team behind him, is he truly an amazing player? And so you have to really, you kind of have to define your terms a little bit more specifically. Is there like team individual play where like you rate the ability of a player to work with different sets of people? Is that the true kind of assessment of a player's skill at the professional level? Or do you solely look at their kind of solo queue performance, their aim, their movement, their ability management skills? Do you only look at those as the true assessment of a player's individual skill in the professional scene? And it's a really interesting question to think about, because I'm not sure if there's truly a right or wrong answer. And so I guess what I wanted to explain with this video is how rating players in the professional scene is truly subjective. You can't really objectively define a player's skill level at the professional level. You can look at their solo queue ranking and say, hey, Tivik is the highest rated player in the world right now. He's the best individual DPS player in the world then. But then he goes on to his team and he's not doing that well in the professional scene. Well, maybe is that team issues? Is that personal performance issue? Is he playing with players that are worse than him, that are holding him back? There's a lot of different factors that you have to discover. And so I think at the end of the day, when it comes to team games, individual performance is always overrated just a little bit. People care quite a bit about trying to find the players that, if they could just get on the right team, they'd be able to carry them all the way to the finals. Because they're just amazing players. But I'm not sure if that's really a legitimate thing to be saying, right? I think you want to be finding the right teams of players, the right players that function as a group, not try to find the best individual players and make them function as a group. And I guess that's something that's been known for quite a while in esports, but I still see lots of discussions about who the best individual is on a team, or who's being held back, or who's getting boosted. And I'm not I just don't think those are really the right questions to be asking. The right questions to be asking are, how do these players work as a team? How do they find strategies that win? If we look at Energy right now, they're a team, and you have to say, like, all of these players are pretty excellent, so why aren't they winning games? It's not because, it's not because they're bad individual players and they just can't aim and they can't, keep up with the pace of the games. It's because they don't have the right synergy, and everyone, of course, is saying that right now, but at the same time, Energy's replaced 2 support players who are really good. And you have to kind of question why. Why did Energy do this? And was it because they thought that, say, Esper didn't have good enough individual skill, or was it because he wasn't able to mesh with the team? But then that kind of goes back, is that a question of Esper's individual skill, in that he might not be able to work as a team with a lot of players? He might be really great in solo queue, but can he mesh with players? And so I guess I'm kind of losing off on a tangent now, so I'll rein myself back for a second and basically conclude with this. The rating of individual players in the professional scene is mostly irrelevant. What matters is the ability of players to work with other people as part of a team, as part of a unit. It's not about making big plays individually. It's about having coordination as a group and being able to execute multiple but being able to execute a cohesive strategy at the same time in a way that the other team can't, and able to recognize the enemy team's mistakes as a team and react to those very quickly and instantly and blow them away. That's all I got for this topic. Thank you for watching.